Hello folks, welcome. So I have another subscriber request, and person wanted to know about custom icons and colorized folders. Now this option is not available on all themes in Linux Mint 22, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And also you can change different themes and get different outcomes, like maybe dark backgrounds, light backgrounds, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of folks out there that are non-English speaking, and this video is being watched all over planet Earth. So I'm going to slow down a little bit, as I do with most of my videos, for those kind of folks. So if you're looking for stuff in a hurry, first of all, I would not recommend skipping over stuff if you want to learn the material in its entirety, and that includes troubleshooting. So developers also, when they put together systems, also follow some certain rules. Filming in 1080, this is LM22 Cinnamon. Welcome folks. Subscription key is in the corner. Again, I recommend watching the video in its entirety. This will be about a 25-minute ride, maybe a little less. So developers, when they put stuff together, when it comes down to your visual experience of your desktop, we can talk about themes. We can talk about mouse pointers, desktop, icons, or applications. These are all visual experiences. And you more likely will not have this one. I do have videos on this. It doesn't matter if I'm using an Arch-based distribution. I have those. Or if I'm using a Debian-based distribution, or any other desktop for that matter. Usually they're installed in the same locations. Now with mouse pointers, they're also known as mouse cursors in some cases. These are all installed in USR share icons protected by root permissions. Just about every Linux distribution stores their mouse pointers there. And sometimes you only get one with some distributions. I have a special one here that's not installed in the same location. This one is installed in period or dot icons on this locally logged in user. So to give you an example of the file manager, click that, sorry. New Mint is our name of our user for today. So basically for me to store that mouse pointer, it's in a hidden folder in here. It's this one. A lot of you folks don't realize this, but this is not new with Linux Mint 22, but when you click this, it checks to see if this folder is here. If it finds it missing, it generates a blank one called period or dot icons. I have my mouse cursor installed there. I can also install that in USR share icons, file system, root, USR, share, icons, and you will find that the mouse pointer called Beata Modern Classic, if I can pronounce that right, is this one. The one next to it is called Ice, and that's this one, and then you can see the rest of this stuff. In here, this folder is owned by root. Root is the top dog of the system, right? Yeah. That means I need to have root permissions to edit anything in that folder. Add or remove icons. That's a lot of times why the developers put these there. And some of these mouse pointers or cursors are different on different distributions. However, this folder is in the same locations on just about all Linux distributions. Also, folks install mouse cursors also in this one. This is called the locally logged in user because it's not in USR share icons. To give you an example, if you create a new user in Linux Mint 22 Cinnamon, they will get all of these except for that one, because this one is installed here on this locally logged in user. Unless I take this folder and copy it and place it into USR share icons, which I do need root permissions to copy and paste that in there. But it can be done. I've shown that on my previous channel quite often. How does this relate to this other stuff? Well, it's called a location. When you reboot your system, turn it on and off, the system needs to go find these. It needs to go find these, and these, and these. So everything has a place. The same thing goes with these icons. I have them in a special location. I just didn't throw them anywhere. And I threw them in the folder called icons, not to be confused with .icons, which is a hidden folder in your home directory or home folder, or USR share icons, which is, well, where all the mouse cursors and some of your themes are coming from. But more importantly, we all need a different way to display these icons, right? No, the developers of these kind of systems need a consistent place to display those icons, and the system knows where to go find them. It's called a path to your icon. And the path to those two icons that I just showed here is this one right there. And here is where those icons reside. I have lots of them. I got some of these off the internet from some of the locations that you can get royalty-free icons. You can also create your own. However you got them, you can create a folder. I called mine icons. You can call yours whatever. Once you start using, and this is very important, please don't skip this part. I've heard way too many stories over the years. Once you use one or more of these kind of icons in your system anywhere, do not move this folder, do not relocate this folder, do not rename that folder. Do not rename the icon. So I'm using one JPEG currently for this icon right here. So if I wanted to be consistent during a reboot, instead of having a blank show up, the quickest way I can make a mess of things is to rename this folder, or move it, or rename the icon, or delete it. That's the quickest way I can make a mess of this. So be consistent if you're going to do this. Create a folder, that's fine. Put your icons in there, that's fine. And leave it there. Do not change its name once you start using them. Hopefully that was clear. So how do you do this kind of stuff? Well, first of all, I'm using this theme, but I want to go through and cycle the themes first, and then I'll show you the icons. Because this, and this will stay consistent no matter what I do here. Including Yarrow. You want me to make it darker for you? I will. Nothing has changed on these three. So Papyrus Lite does not have the option of changing folder colors. Sand does. This is what I'm referring to. So if I wanted to decolorize this, I could do that by right-clicking and decolorize the music folder. And I'm going to switch to Yarrow for a second. Now if I try to colorize the folder here, it's not an option. And you'll find a couple of themes like this, icon sets. However, if I wanted that music folder to be a specific color, I could change that briefly to the sand icon set and then colorize it. This time I'll pick red. And then go back to Yarrow. The folder shapes, yes, are different because that's manually assigned. I don't have the option. I don't have the option of colorizing folders in Yarrow. But I did in sand. So I can't return this color back until I flip this back to here. So a little bit of troubleshooting for you. This removes the color, restores the color on the selected folder or directory. These have not changed. So I'm going to put this back to the default. So currently I am getting this icon from my Documents icon folder. But since this is standard doc, so documents, folder documents matches this set for Mint Y Sand. Okay, I can select it. However, what I'm going to do is hit cancel for a second and change this to Yarrow and do the same thing. Go in here and type documents And what do I have? Well, I have a whole bunch of different things. I have folders documents and folder documents. Now this may be self-explanatory to some, but what happens when you pick that one? It looks like folder documents, but it says an S on it. First of all, that looks like that, and if I switch a couple of themes, it may look like it self-corrected itself. And you're thinking, oh, we're out of the woods. Are we? What does that look like to you? That does not even match this set. So if you right-click on this and go and click that, again, we're dealing with the name documents. Okay. We have a whole bunch of these. Which one do I pick? Folder blue documents, folder blue documents open. It gets confusing of which icon I should pick. Can I give you a suggestion? Briefly switch this over to sand and correct it here. If you're wanting to go back to the default icon, just type in documents. Okay, you can see this is the only option. It doesn't say folders, it says folder documents. That is the correct icon because it matches this set. And more importantly, if you need to cycle through these to check them, you can, to verify that everything looks like it's working just fine. And you can see it's matching the set. Doesn't matter what I pick. Okay. So the same thing goes with pictures. I would probably not do it in this mode if I had already changed this. And keep in mind, it's a folder icon. And it's not coming from here. It's coming from this area here. There's where that's coming from. If I needed to change that back, I would also recommend that you go to sand, midwise sand, and then alter it in here. If you're needing to go back to your original icon. Now you can see the path, and this becomes important to understand because the system on a reboot actually goes and looks at this. Oh, that's what I need to display here on the user's file manager NEMO, is this icon. But what if this icon doesn't exist? Maybe you went in and either altered the location of the folder or maybe you erased one JPEG and replaced it with two JPEG. Well, that means this will be a blank. Or maybe it'll take on the theme if you're lucky. That's why I'm pointing out to the importance of location. Location, location, location. All right, so this is pictures. So that one's pretty easy to discern. Picked. Would you want this black and white one? No, this is matching with this set. Folder-pictures. So not everything is exactly the way it's spelled. Now I'm going to cycle through a couple of these just to let you see that they're all in alignment as far as matching. And keep in mind, it doesn't matter if I'm using a light or a dark theme or mixing. This is a mix. This is be more of a all around. And these are changing as we're going through this. Just to give you an example of these kind of icons. So going back to my standard sand one, this folder here that I talked about earlier that contains this mouse pointer, for instance, is auto-generated. When I click themes, I'm going to wipe this out, trash can, and I'm going to activate hidden files and folders. So this folder here is again found on quite a few Linux distributions. Linux Mint has been auto-generating this folder for years, if you're not aware of this. I sometimes create this, and it doesn't matter if it's an Arch-based distribution or Debian-based. So 2 locations is where this system displays icons. From here is where that's located. I'll open up the folder. That's called radioactive, and it matches. And the second location is this right here in your file system, which is more common with just about every Linux distribution. You'll find different things installed in here, but in general, this, we're speaking mint here. We're talking cinnamon. This is this mouse pointer right here, and the Modern Ice is next to it. And you can also see the themes in here. So again, location, location. So what would happen if I am using this and I delete this folder? I'm going to do that right now. It's gone. It's usually in between here on my system. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to wait a second. And I'm going to open this back up. Okay, it looks like it's still here, but all of a sudden your mouse pointer just changed. It took a couple seconds for the system to recognize this. However, this still says radioactive, but when I click it, it's not there anymore. So these are your default mouse pointers. And where are they stored again? USR share icons. All right, so in between me clicking, it generated another one of these because I deleted it. I'll do it again for you if you like. It's gone. It's Casper. So I'm going to click back out. And that folder will be created in between here. In other words, between dot or period GFS, GVFS, and dot or period Linux Mint. It'll be a folder in between here. I'm going to click themes. Okay. So in either case, let me close and reopen. There we go. All right, now you can see that folder is blank. There's nothing in it. That's standard behavior. On some Linux distributions, you'll actually find this also with nothing in them. And on some distributions, I have to manually create that. I do that quite often on Arch-based distributions, but anyways, so period or dot icons. Can I install that other radioactive in USR share icons? Absolutely. I've shown that on my previous channel quite often. That channel is closed. So there's no radioactive. So these are your standard mouse pointers. Wanted to point that out to you. And you probably already know that. So I'm going to restore this. Well, this is the one that has the radioactive mouse cursor or pointer. But I need to delete this first because you can't have two folders with the same name in the same area. So delete is gone. Trash can, and where's out of those three, it's the last one. So I'll just go back one, right click and do a restore. And go back and verify that that's there with my mouse pointer. Close this, go back out one, go back in, and there's radioactive. And that's why it requires certain locations to be available to you. And the same concept is going to be carried on when you're using custom icons in your file manager, such as that house I was using. Just showing you the example of how to activate that. You can use your own custom icons. And again, you don't have this one. I placed that in there myself. This will not change depending on whatever theme I throw at it. Because it is a custom icon, it's coming from here. The same thing I can do with the pictures folder. I can reassign that also. Click. And let me do this a little differently now. I'm going to throw you for a loop. I'm going to use emoji this time. I'll use face laugh guy. We could all use a laugh once in a while. So would you say these would be consistent all the way across? I'll even colorize a folder while I'm at it, just to have a little fun. If I decided to change themes, you'd be surprised with emojis. So I'm going to first go with Yarrow. That changed, didn't it? Yes. This remained the same. That remained the same. I'm going to go with Papyrus Light. What is that guy doing now? He's not laughing anymore. He's crying. I didn't change the icon. It's done with the icon set. There probably is a smiley face guy in there somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, I guess I could pick that guy to substitute for that. Switching back to sand. Right click, colorization. Switching a couple more themes for you. Throw you off for a worse curve, as one would say. Right click, turn it off. It's still holding that. Switching back to Yarrow. Back to sand. Right click, properties, click. It's called Face Laugh Guy. I can choose anything I want to in here. All these are just icons. System icons. However, they do affect depending on your icon set, as you noticed with this guy. So I'm going to put this back to default. Pictures, using the Mintwise Sand mode. Pictures. Only got one option. And close. Now that's back to normal. So if you are looking to colorize one folder, if that's your intent, again in Yarrow you can't, but you can in Sand. So if I wanted to switch that to red, I'd do that in Sand mode or in Mintwise Sand icon set. And because that colorization bar is available on all my icons, but then I can go to Yarrow and that will no longer be available, including that one. So if you needed to return that icon back to default, just a little troubleshooting. Restore color of selected folder. Click. So a couple of rules. Don't forget. When you're using custom icons, do not rename the folder, do not move the folder, do not rename the icons. I can't emphasize that enough if you're using custom icons. I don't care where they are, in your menus or in your file manager. Custom icons are custom icons. Thank you for watching.